the Sudan conflict and India's Operation Kaveri, which has well and truly kicked off to rescue stranded nationals in Sudan. The first batch of stranded Indians, consisting of 278 nationals, have left from Port Sudan. This is a big moment for those anxious families waiting to receive their kin. The evacuation operation is being carried out by India's naval ship INS Sumedha. External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bagchi informed in a tweet that the first batch of stranded Indians has left the violence-hit country and will arrive in Jeddah. The country has positioned 2 transport aircrafts of the Indian Air Force in Jeddah and the naval ship INS Sumedha at Port Sudan as part of its contingency plan to evacuate the stranded Indians. Now, that's the story we're tracking at this hour. Let's listen in to my colleague Rishabh reporting on the latest situation.
So this is very significant. This is a big diplomatic win for India to get people out of a country which is war-torn. It is being fought between the paramilitary and the Sudanese army, and that shows that the intensity of fighting, the gunfight between both the sides is quite high, and that's the reason it took India almost 7 to 8 days for the evacuation to begin. Operation Kaveri is officially underway. 278 Indians have left Port Sudan and are on way to Jeddah. It was thinking on feet for MEA to place INS Sumedha at Port Sudan and 2 of its C-130J in Jeddah. Now these 278 will be these 278 will be brought to Jeddah, and from there will be flown back to India in the Air Force planes that are already on standby in Jeddah. So the first batch is on way home. There are other 2,700 Indians who are still there in Sudan. India will not stop before they get the last Indian out of it. This is what the MEA suggests.
Well, joining me here on the program, Mr. Deepak Vohra, former ambassador to Sudan. Very good evening, Mr. Vohra. Thank you so much for joining us here on Mirror Now. We were just tracking the latest developments from Sudan, and you will perhaps be in a position to tell us that after Operation Ganga, now this is Operation Kaveri that has kicked off. What are the challenges that an operation of this nature is likely to face for someone like you who knows Sudan and knows the conflict? Tell us more about how this mission will be carried out.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be with you on Mirror Now, ma'am. It's a great honor, and your channel is extremely popular. Thank you for inviting me.
Likewise.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. You've asked me a very intelligent question about how these operations go. I've participated in several. Many years ago, I think it was 2015, we had this issue and we had a lot of our people stuck. Ultimately, the Prime Minister had to speak to the King of Saudi Arabia, request him to stop the bombing for a certain period of time so we could get our people out. We took them from wherever they were in Yemen, from Sana'a, the capital. We took them.
Okay. I think the line was interrupted in between. Carry on, Ambassador Vohra, carry on.
Sorry, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. So I was talking about Yemen, how the Prime Minister had to speak to the King of Saudi Arabia. He paused the bombing, then the Yemenis fellows opened the airport. We were able to take out our people. Now, the challenge in Sudan was, who do we talk to? Because there are 2 fellows fighting each other, food, the terrorists and so on. And then the other was the military. So both claim that they are the kings of Sudan, and we really had to talk to both. Fortunately for us, ma'am, we have enormous brand equity in Sudan. Both these characters, I don't remember now, but they're brothers or sisters or wives or uncles. Somebody either studied in India or got medical treatment in India. And then they would have allowed us to move people from Khartoum and Omdurman. Omdurman is a twin city of Khartoum, where most of the Indian community is concentrated. They would have allowed us to move 700 kilometers away to Port Sudan along a road that, interestingly, was built by an Indian company many years ago. So what happens in a case like this is you first get the people together, you form a and the ambassador or one of the officials from the embassy is in the first car flying the flag. Normally, it would be the ambassador if the flag is to be flown, or we put up signs saying Embassy of India. And then we take it where it is. And in cases like this, if we have done our homework and spoken to both belligerents, as we would have done, we have an outstanding team in Khartoum. We invested to Port Sudan. Port Sudan, then we put it on our boats. We cross the Red Sea to Jeddah, and from there we have the aircraft to bring them back home. And then the ship returns to pick up the next batch of people.
Yes.
So far, it has been flawless. We have enough experience. We have experience in Lebanon, Libya, in South Sudan, in Yemen, in Ukraine last year.
Yes, absolutely. I was coming to that.
So I believe.
Yes, I wanted to know that, when we talk about, from country to country, I imagine the circumstances would be different. Would it be fair to say that India is, given the instances that you quoted, that India is well rehearsed, well equipped to handle something like this? This is just the first batch. There are a lot more Indians who still are waiting to be evacuated.
Well, you're absolutely right. We have the world's best experience in bringing out our children wherever they are stranded. And many other countries ask us, they learn from us. Now, some of the Western countries are very arrogant, ma'am. You know this better than I do. And they sort of come in and bring up the local chap, whoever they can. Look, we're coming in and you better not behave the way you're behaving. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about these arrogant fellows in Sudan. What did happen, of course, you know that the Americans said, oh, we've brokered a 72-hour ceasefire. It was broken in 72 seconds and the fighting resumed. But what is happening, and I'm seeing the images now, that the Sudanese themselves, who really love India, because we have enormous brand equity there with the soft loans we've given, with the people who've studied, the people who've got medical treatment, they help us. We reach out to these people and they give us whatever support they can. We have a medical team there, etc.
Yes. How is it prioritized, Ambassador Vohra? Because we are saying this will happen in batches. How do you, is it the embassy that does the sort of, building those batches?
On the basis, sure, each embassy decides its own priority list, but we look at women and children and the aged and the infirm first, get them out. There are some who do not wish to leave because they have their businesses there. But we would go according to the category, the most in need kind of thing. And we take them out, the others then stay on. We bring everybody to a safe area and then send them out in batches. There is no preference, there is no partiality in this. It's done in a very, very methodical way, and we do it extremely well.
You mentioned, just a short while ago that in certain cases one has to wait for the bombing to be paused. Now, there may be a situation where you may not have that under your control. What are the precautions then taken? Because safety is paramount.
Sure.
Yes.
Then you talk to whoever is in charge. In this case, there are two fellows fighting with each other. You talk to both and say, listen, buddy, this is the Indian embassy and we're taking out our national. We're not fighting with you guys. We're not taking sides in this battle. Every other country in the neighborhood either joins the supports the rapid support forces or supports the military. We don't support anybody. We just want peace and stability in that place. We tell them that we are moving. They say, fine, you're moving. We won't molest you. And invariably, what I've seen is that they do not molest us. That has been experienced right through. I think one of our nationals got killed in Sudan in a crossfire. We had a death in Ukraine also, but it was never deliberate. We are not deliberately targeted. One more thing. The Western countries first flew out their diplomats and officials. We first take out our citizens, our nationals. Our diplomats are the last to leave. That is the strength of Indian diplomacy.
That's an amazing message you're putting out here, and I appreciate that. And I also want to ask you here that it would be, of course, testing time, trying times for the embassies in such scenarios. In this case, of course, the Indian embassy in Sudan. But tell us, are there special drills held to prepare the embassy for such eventualities? Like you said, there could be a number of possibilities. Are the embassy officials also trained to handle this?
Oh, absolutely. We have standard operating procedures, and then ministry headquarters in New Delhi tells them that this is what you do. The first thing we do is set up a control room. I've done this in several countries. And all our officers do it, all our heads of mission. There's a control room, there's a computer, there's a landline. This is the age of social media. I'm talking about the time when there wasn't this kind of popularity for social media. We have the names, we have the addresses, we have the phone numbers. We get the first.
Okay. Unfortunately, we lost the line there, but we got some very interesting points made by Ambassador Deepak Vohra on how Mission Kaveri is being carried out. This is the evacuation operation that is currently underway. 278 Indians out of Sudan for now. The rest are still waiting. We continue to track the big developments.